I can still hear.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, I'm Corinne Sussens, Senior Marketing Manager at OpenNet, and I will be presenting this webinar on virtualizing business support systems with my colleague Sean Broderick, Product Marketing Manager at OpenNet. Our presentation will last about 25 minutes and will include operator examples and case studies. Overall, we will cover two main points. I will start with the key drivers and benefits of BSS virtualization. Then Sean will discuss how operators can virtualize BSS whilst reducing risk and protecting legacy investments. So let's start with what is driving operators' interest and investment in BSS virtualization. Analyst firm Current Analysis issued a survey report in July which highlights that operators will be using virtualization to drive innovative service creation, especially the creation of services and apps that require time-to-market intervals of only days, even hours. They then stated that many operators view NFV, meaning Network Function Virtualization, as a key ingredient in their OSS-BSS transformation objectives, offering an escape from the legacy 12 to 24-month service creation cycles that handicap their long-term competitiveness. In other words, operators see BSS virtualization as a solution to drive service innovation and much faster time to market. In fact, Telecoms.com Intelligence ran a survey of 100 operators on the topic this year. The survey revealed that 2/3 of operators have deployed or are planning to deploy virtualized BSS by 2016. More operators are also expected to follow as the benefits of BSS virtualization are realized. Before diving in more detail into the benefits that BSS virtualization brings, let's have a quick review of what virtualization and NFV actually mean and their implications in terms of BSS. Virtualization refers to the techniques of creating a virtual version of a computing resource. As you can see in the diagram, it is enabled through a virtualization layer, which is the software that sits on top of the physical hardware to create the virtual machines. In the case of business support systems, virtualized solutions remove the one-to-one dependency of BSS software on specific hardware. This then makes it easier to create, scale, and manage instances of BSS in response to business or technical requirements. NFV, or Network Functions Virtualization, is an initiative launched in 2012 by a number of network operators around the world. It aims to evolve IT virtualization technology to consolidate network equipment onto industry-standard high-volume hardware and implement network functions in software that can run on a range of industry-standard hardware. What many operators are doing now is extending virtualization and NFV concepts to BSS, which enables them to achieve 4 key benefits: accelerate service innovation, learn fast and minimize risk, facilitate new business models, and optimize cost. I will now examine in more detail each of these benefits. In terms of accelerating service innovation, virtualization enables operators to simplify and accelerate the service deployment process by making it easier to deploy and manage BSS software. This is because operators can use virtual machine images where a single physical machine can be shared by multiple virtual machines. This approach removes the need to create a full new hardware-based environment for every single service introduction with its full, lengthy procure, design, integrate, test, deploy cycle. Also, in a virtualized environment, there is no need to create a separate test environment as is usually the case in traditional environments. Offers can be tested and launched on the same infrastructure. As a result, the time from test to scale production can be reduced from weeks to hours. Finally, services can be rapidly scaled up or down as required. This allows targeted services based on geography or customer set to be introduced much more rapidly. Overall, BSS virtualization accelerates the cycle of innovation and the time to market for new services. I will now give you some operator examples. Sorry, I think we had a technical issue here, but it's now resolved. So as an example, a Tier 1 North American mobile operator is now able to introduce services in days, which previously would have taken months without virtualization. In Europe, Telefonica has indicated that its Unica virtualization infrastructure can reduce deployment times from 4 months to 4 days. The second key benefit that BSS virtualization brings is the ability to learn fast and minimize risk. In a recent survey by telecoms.com, 73% of operators say that virtualization enables them to trial new services and business models with minimum disruption. Services can be easily rolled out or rolled back, and resources can be easily reallocated as required. It's also easy to go from a small-scale trial to full-scale production in a virtualized environment. Moreover, once the initial service is launched, operators can perform in-service upgrades and modifications faster and with minimum disruption. Finally, the adoption of open standards with BSS and NFV removes vendor lock-in. This then reduces the need for vendor-specific skills and simplifies the integration of new components to the existing network. The third key benefit is about how BSS virtualization facilitates new business models. With virtualization, various BSS solutions can be deployed on a common platform. This makes it easy to create tailored solutions for specific market segments. As you can see in the diagram here, operators can expose these capabilities to partners and easily enable multi-sided business models. For instance, operators can enable partners to build, launch, and maintain their own offers through a partner self-service portal that provides secure access to the operator's BSS environment. By leveraging virtualization to open up their BSS environment to third parties, operators can benefit from new revenue opportunities with various types of partners, including content and OTT providers, but also MVNOs and enterprise customers. Finally, the fourth key benefit of BSS virtualization is about cost optimization. Virtualization enables operators to reduce costs by consolidating hardware on standard non-proprietary hardware and by simplifying the service deployment process. In addition, virtualization allows for optimum utilization of the hardware deployed. For instance, multiple applications can coexist on the same physical server. Hardware no longer needs to be permanently dedicated to a specific application or purpose. This means, for example, that hardware that is only needed for occasional peak loads can be easily reallocated during off-peak periods. To sum up my presentation, significant operational and cost benefits are driving more and more operators to adopt BSS virtualization, and this trend is expected to grow. However, the technology alone is not enough. Operators need to work with BSS specialists that have a domain expertise and experience in deploying innovative solutions to fully realize the benefits of virtualization. This is the end of my section. Thank you very much for listening. I will now hand this over to Sean.
Thank you very much, Corinne. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Broderick, and as Corinne said, I am the Product Marketing Manager for OpenIT. I'm going to outline how operators can protect legacy investment while at the same time launching innovative new services through virtualized BSS. The problem today is that many BSS systems, architecture and data models are proprietary and rigid, because historically CSP's data requirements and business processes have also been proprietary and rigid. New business models where agility is a reality rather than a marketing buzzword will require agile BSS systems. Many of the large network equipment providers promote operator agility on one hand and a single supplier strategy on the other, and these cannot coexist in our view. Although virtualization goes some way to addressing this scenario by allowing operators to try out alternative suppliers without fear of technology backlash, there still is a pervasive attitude of carriers sticking with the one-stop shop, despite openly acknowledging that specialist BSS offerings are more attractive and more capable. Mobile operators who have sunk massive investment into BSS systems can be quite reluctant to trial new BSS systems, as they do want to protect their legacy investment, which has been invested over time. This approach is generally driven by the demand for more complex service support and the requirement to squeeze the last bit of investment from legacy systems. Operators do have a choice. They don't have to wait for hardware vendors to ready a software-based solution. They can deploy BSS modules on industry standard service. An application-driven approach where an operator starts with a particular application to virtualize, such as policy and charging control, can be considered. And on this particular slide, I'm going to bring you through how virtualized and non-virtualized BSS can coexist side by side. And the graphic that you're seeing on the screen, on the left-hand side, you see the existing physical infrastructure and how it links into existing BSS. And on the right-hand side, you can see how virtualized BSS might look in a virtualized BSS world. This is a low-risk approach in our view, as the deployment can be started at a modest scale. For example, as an adjunct deployment to handle a specific business case, such as Rich Communication Services, or RCS. The deployment can then be scaled, or additional functions can be virtualized as opportunities or needs demand. For example, a subset of subscribers in an operator may be selected for a pilot. To roll out production, the deployment can be scaled and subscribers migrated in a phased manner. The operator can deploy virtualized PCC as an adjunct to their existing deployment. Although existing BSS can be used to deploy these services, the time to market can be up to 1 year. And as Corinne has already outlined, in a virtualized environment, these can be launched in days, not weeks or months or even years. So we feel a big bang approach is not required here to virtualize BSS. the side-by-side model can be used as an easy introduction to virtualization. To roll out to production, the deployment can be scaled and subscribers migrated in a phased manner. Existing non-virtualized PCC functionality can be retained by the operator for existing PCC use cases like fair usage, while realizing the benefits of virtualized PCC for application-specific use case trials. Virtualization is a mature and proven technology that has been used to dramatically lower the cost structure of building and maintaining data centers. Virtualization helps maximize return on investment and get the most out of existing infrastructure and hardware. Previously, virtualization had made relatively little impact on the telecoms world, but this is rapidly changing. The graphic you're seeing on screen gives a wide range of reasons as to why virtualization is key in the telecoms market. NFV severs the link between a mobile operator's services and its vendor hardware. And this gives the operator the ability to break out from a single supplier, delivering hardware-based network equipment and services, and realize the cost savings of a multi-vendor environment. So in terms of some of the technical benefits of a virtualization approach, we feel that these systems are much easier to manage. There's central management of all running virtual machines. The configuration is simplified and it allows to monitor applications and enable system recovery. In addition, the rapid deployment and upgrade times speed up time to market for operators, and the same principles apply to upgrades. It is also, the deployments are also linearly scalable to large TPS rates with extremely low latencies. In September 2013, AT&T launched the next generation of its supplier domain program, Domain 2.0, triggering a swift and broad move to a modern cloud-based architecture that is expected to significantly reduce the time required to pivot this target architecture, while accelerating time to market with technologically advanced products and services. So how does AT&T plan to do this? It plans to simplify and scale its network by separating hardware and software functionality, separating network control plane and forwarding planes, and improving the management of functionality in the software layer. OpenEd have utilized these principles in a large Tier 1 in North America. They are a very progressive customer of ours who are strongly adopting the principles of NFV, and our systems enable them to get there. So it is possible to do this, and it is possible to do it at an extremely large scale. By removing the need to create a full hardware-based environment, OpenEd has simplified the deployment process, enabling operators to focus on creating new revenue streams without having to deal with issues around integration, deployment, and infrastructure management. The modular architecture of OpenEd systems, along with BSS virtualization, will enable operators to reduce costs and effectively transition from legacy proprietary technology and embrace open standards. Also, OpenEd has created a logical scalable unit, or LSU architecture. This has been designed from the ground up to maximize the benefits of virtualization and cloud technologies. This has resulted in easier to manage systems owing to our orchestration components. These can be rapidly deployed to upgrade the virtual machines on our LSUs. The deployment of these take less than 5 hours. In-service upgrades take approximately 3 hours with no loss of service. And the LSU model, or virtual images, allow our systems to be hugely scalable, in excess of 1 million TPS in a deployment across many different data centers. In a recent survey, 71 operators by heavy reading, 69% said they would expose policy via APIs. In the same survey, only 24% of operators had no plans to virtualize their policy deployments. So why is this relevant in this case? The reason it's relevant in this case is as I said, we've built a number of new components. As this area is likely to be one where there is significant change in the coming years, we've made extensive use of standard APIs to allow integration with other systems. In addition, our state-of-the-art in-memory database allows for the long-term storage of balances as well as stateful data. Some of the benefits that are delivered by virtualizing a particular element of BSS, like policy in this way, is that virtualization enables operators to keep pace with the growth of mobile data. Deployments are handling large transaction volumes. The network upgrades and maintenance requirements can now be executed without impacting subscriber experiences, and it is future-proof by being compliant with network functions virtualization. And it's not just cost-effective for a large Tier 1, it's cost-effective all the way from large-scale deployments all the way down to Tier 3 operators. So to sum up, BSS virtualization is a key enabler for innovation and will provide operators with the agility and flexibility to quickly capitalize on revenue-generating opportunities. While adopting NFV is crucial, deploying the technology in isolation is not enough. Operators must work with BSS specialists that have experience of deploying innovative solutions that fully realize the many advantages of this revolutionary network architecture. I'd like to thank you very much for your time today. If you do have any questions, please submit them to info@opennet.com. Some of our attendees have submitted some pre-questions for the webinar, and I'm going to address a couple of these just as a way of rounding out the webinar. So Umesh from Tech Mahindra asked us how operators can monetize virtualized BSS. But for us, it's not monetizing BSS, but rather using virtualized BSS to enable new business models, deliver faster time to market, and monetize the ability of NFV to provide dynamic programmable networks. Carol from Frost & Sullivan asked, while virtualized BSS and supporting services that ride a virtual network are on the opposite sides of the scale, why is it important for CSPs to use a virtualized billing solution? So from OpenNet's perspective, it is hard to see how operators will deliver the hope for improvements in time to market, service innovation, and service personalization if the BSS cannot adapt to the NFV vision. This is particularly important for policy and charging functions. There's little point, we feel, in having a dynamic network if the monetizing and revenue handling systems are not similarly enabled. And the final question I have here is from Ninad from Tech Mahindra also. And he has asked, he's interested in knowing how the concepts being talked in light of network functions are applicable for IT systems as well. And he also asks us to touch on the topic of how the ETSI or ETSI NFV ISG framework can be applied to BSS systems also. I suppose the concepts prompted by NFV should not just be for network functions, and a transformation is needed on the operator's business side to complement the transformation taking place on the network side also. NFV concepts need to be applied in the OSS and BSS to deliver on the promises of NFV, such as the agility and faster time to market, reduced TCO and elasticity, and higher service availability. That concludes our webinar for today. As I said, please do submit any questions or comments to info@opennet.com, and we'll be back in touch to answer those questions for you. Thank you very much.